What is up, everybody? Welcome back to RacingDudes.com, and welcome back to another week of Rockets, Hits, and Heartbreaks, as we're going to go through a little bit of what happened last week. But the main focus of this kind of going to be a little bit of a discussion, and this was inspired by a commenter actually on the last video that we did. And the person said, you know, what is your like low threshold? What are the odds you need to have to bet daily doubles? Because we talked a lot about, hey, this is what I'm doing, you know, race over race, daily doubles, how I'm calculating ROI for the Rockets product. I'm not even looking at like potential payouts. This is just what it is based on if you just did kind of like the caveman 2x2 daily doubles all the way through. And by the way, still a positive ROI for the Rockets on those rolling daily doubles after another week where, honestly, Thursday and Friday, horrifically bad, and then Saturday and Sunday, very, very good for those doubles. So still a very nice positive ROI for those, and a positive ROI for pick threes on the Rockets as well. And then, of course, still a negative ROI on that pick five. Hit a couple over the weekend, but still down for the month on the pick fives, but we're still working to get that back up. But the big discussion here was, you know, what odds do you need to take to make that wager? The problem is you can give a standard answer for that, and I will try to kind of do that, but it's really not. It depends is the best answer I can give, and I'm going to kind of try to highlight what I mean by that in this video. It kind of depends on how you see the race and what your confidence level is of that said race. So I'm going to go through a few examples that came up over the weekend. I'm going to pull up Equibase now for everybody to see. So these are a few examples of things that kind of came up over the weekend that can kind of navigate, hey, what price do I take, right? You know, on average, if you're playing a daily double, to me, you need to get about 8-1, right? But that's not always the case. That is a very general answer for something that's, it's not really set in stone. So as we look at this now, this was one example that I wanted to pull up. So one of my big plays over the weekend was a Goodnight Olive over Wicked Halo straight exacta. And I knew going in it wasn't going to pay very well. It was a short field, two favorites. And I knew it wasn't going to be a one where we're going to get 15-1, right? But for the whole weekend, Goodnight Olive was the horse that I thought would win the most. Like, that's the one I had the most confidence in. Wicked Halo, out of the rest of this group, I thought was a stone cold cinch lock to get second. I thought she was just a better horse than Carmel Swirl, and I didn't like the other two horses in the race. So for me, I would have played this exacta down to like $3 for $1. So you see here it paid $3.95. I would have played it down to $3 even before I would have said no. Now if it went under $3, I was like, yeah, that's not worth it for an exacta. But for me personally, I thought 50% of if they ran this race, let's say 100 times, 50 of those 100 times, it'd come in 1-3. So for me, it made sense to play it like that, because $3.95 for $1 on something I think is a lock is fine. Do I recommend, going that low on an exacta very often? Not at all. Your normal run-of-the-mill race, if you say you go into the race like, I really like this exacta, and you go and look at it and go, well, it's paying, $4, let's say, for $1, it's probably not a great play overall, but if it is one of your strong plays, you love it, you think there's no way it's not coming in this, then I would drop down to that. Now, in contrast, and why I said at the beginning of this video, I can't give you a concrete answer on how low you should play an exacta or how low of odds you should take on a double, because here's a perfect example. Jared had the same wager, but he wanted $6 for $1 before he would play it. So he did not play it. Well, I thought I would take $3 for $1. So his opinion was not as strong as mine on this race. Therefore, he didn't play it, because his thought process was, look, I think it's going to come in 1-3, but I'm not that strong on it, so I want to get paid on it. Well, so his answer to your question of, hey, what's the lowest you would play, would be different than mine on this race, and would be different on a lot of races. So that's kind of the thing. I almost like wrote a reply to the comment, but I thought there's it's really probably a pretty good thing to do a video on, because there's a lot of different answers to that question. So like I said, in this situation, I would have played it down to $3 for a buck, but Jared didn't. He wanted $6 out of it. So all right, we beat that one to death. Let's go to actual daily doubles. So this was a good one. And I'm going to show you a couple I missed too. Don't take this as, hey, you're trying to brag or anything. But if you looked on the free picks, even this weekend on Sunday at Monmouth, I really liked the 6 in the first race. And then I liked the 4 in the second race. But here's the deal. This was not a good night all over wicked Halo exacta type of confidence, right? The 6 was 6-1 on the morning line, but I just thought the horse moving over to the turf would be good. And I thought, getting Paco Lopez aboard, I really felt like the 6 was kind of getting undervalued. So I said, okay, I'll take a shot with the 6 horse. We'll see what this horse can do here. So I looked at a few exactas. The problem was the wheel pays were fine, 6 over whoever you wanted to play in that first race at Monmouth on Sunday. But I didn't have a strong opinion on anything other than I just think the 6 is going to pull a bit of an upset. So I always go to exactas first. Didn't see anything. Said, all right, let's look at the doubles. I was a big fan of the number 4 Faith in the second race. Paco Lopez aboard this one as well. And I said, all right, I'm gonna try to play the Paco double here. I think that's going to be a pretty good play. I felt like the 1 was the other horse that the 4 had to beat, but I just thought with Paco aboard, I thought the 4 looked a little bit better. So I decided, all right, I'm going to play a 6-4 double. That's how I want to attack race 1 here at Monmouth, right? So then you go, okay, let's look at these wheel pays. And on this one, so the daily double here paid $24.80. That was fine. I was okay with playing that. But on this one, with the confidence levels not there, I'm probably looking at least 12 to 1 on the double before I'm going to play it, right? Because if say I looked at the wheel pays for double and it's paying $10, well, then all of a sudden you get into a situation where it's like, okay, maybe I can just play the 6 horse to win, right? The odds are okay. It's probably not worth the risk if it's paying 10 to 1 on that double. So I mean, I like it, but I'm not in love with it. It's not one that I'm gonna, load up on or anything like that. It's just like, yeah, I think it's worth a $10 double here to go 6-4. Let's look at the wheel pays. And like I said, if it's paying $10, like, yeah, maybe I'll just take that $10 and put it to win instead, right? So, but no, you looked at it, and at one point it was paying about $26 for a dollar. It did go down a little bit, but that's what I was looking for. You got the payout you want, and it's like, okay, I can make that wager. But that kind of shows you, though, how you pivot. Like I said, if you the thing about it is this horse was 6-1. I think went down to maybe 5-1 on the morning line, or excuse me, on the line when the horses were loading. So you kind of have to kind of gauge, okay, I like the 6. This is the one I'm really kind of building this bet around. So would it behoove me just to bet the win if this will pay down here wasn't very big? Or do you see that big will pay and go, well, I'm going to try to play the double and try to create even more value from this horse that's a decent price that I like. So that's kind of the mindsets that you kind of have to go through. And that's the thing, guys. It's not, handicapping is kind of cut and dry. You like the horse, you don't like the horse. When it comes to wagering, we try to give out wagers, and we do give out wagers for every race. But when it gets right down to it, you kind of do have to adjust from that sum based on those wheel pays. We're trying to guess if they're going to pay good or not, or how much they're going to pay, stuff like that. But you just never really know until you get in the situation. So anyway, this was a good situation. Ended up cashing a double, and it was very good. So let's go to the big Monmouth card. And so here's another race where I had to pivot. The Pegasus Stakes, if you watched the preview for this or bought products or whatever, you knew I was against Kingsbarns on the win end. I wanted to try to beat him. I was looking into some exactas here as well with Salute the Stars and Subrogate, who was off the board that I liked here. Just couldn't really get an exacta that made sense to me where it paid enough. So I ended up playing a double here as well. I went to Salute the Stars and Subrogate, used the 2 horses that I thought had the best shot to beat Kingsbarns, and went down here to the next race and used the 1 and the 8 and played a small double. And the payouts were good enough, but didn't come in. But again, I was looking hey, let's get about $12 is what I needed for $1 on that payoff. And so I think they were right around 15 or 20, depending on which one won. So there was a situation there where it worked out. It could have played it, and it didn't get the payout, or didn't win, but got the payout I wanted. And this was another one where I played Petulante in the 12th race there, the Salvatore Mile, and also another horse that finished off the board, Octane, who set the pace and faded. So I went 1-6, and then I was playing Tribuvon off the board. But this double with Tribuvon was paying, I believe with Petulante it was $9.40, and with Octane it was higher than that. It was in the double digits. And that was one where it's like, okay, I really like Tribuvon. Funny to say now after how bad he ran, but it's like, I really like him. I would have taken that one down to about 8-1, right? So where the other one, I wanted 12 or 15, and the other one, same thing, kind of wanted 12 or 15, where that one's like, I kind of like him. I don't like Artorias at all. That's the other in the 12th race. I wanted to get out of it. So it's like, I'll play a couple horses there and play it into Tribuvon. And yeah, I'll take that, if it's 8-1 or higher. So that just shows you you kind of have to go in saying, okay, here's the horses I like, here's my confidence level, here's kind of my minimums, and then kind of pivot around. In some races, you may just not even find anything that's worth betting, and so you could just skip it altogether. But you just kind of got to pivot around and play with the prices based on the horses that you like. So it's kind of the long answer to the question we had from last week. I again, hopefully it wasn't too boring, and hopefully you got something out of it, because I do think it's important to kind of highlight the two aspects of it. There's handicapping, and then there's betting, and you kind of got to set your minimums, what you personally will take for those horses in those situations in those races, and then go from there and kind of make those decisions like that. So, all right, guys, hope you enjoyed this week's Rockets Hits and Heartbreaks. Less about what happened last week, more about kind of betting theory and kind of what we're looking at, with those doubles and in the minimums we will play in certain situations like that. So biggest thing, just be flexible with your wagering. Don't have a set thing that you have to do. Have those set horses that you love or don't love or whatever, but have those set horses that you like in those races, and then pivot, based on what the will pays are and then probables and stuff like that. All right, guys, thanks for watching this video. We'll be back next week for more Rockets, Hits, and Heartbreaks.
RacingDudes.com is your home for the best free picks for every race, every track. Summer's here, our picks are heating up. We want you to join us in the fun. Subscribe to the Racing Dudes YouTube channel right now. Click the notification bell. You don't want to miss a single one of our awesome videos. Want to make money betting horses? Bet with the Racing Dudes.